Good morning, YouTube, BookTube. This is Johnny. Yeah, it is a morning here in West Michigan. It is 8:11 on April the 9th, 2021. It is a Friday morning, and I thought I'd make a video. Yesterday, my wife and I, we went to Grand Haven, which is north of Holland where we live, and we went to Goodwill, and we went to a thrift store and there in Grand Haven, and then we went to the public library there in Grand Haven, and they have a used bookstore called Cheap Stacks. And we usually go there at least once a year, and books are like, paperbacks are like a quarter and hardbacks are 50 cents. And Cheap Stacks is on my Facebook page, and they kept saying they were having a $5 bag sale. So my wife and I, we went there, Grand Haven, and we went to Goodwill first, and then we went to a thrift store or a resale shop there in Grand Haven that we usually go to look at their books, and then we went to the library. And on the way home, from Grand Haven, we stopped and had lunch, and then we went to Salvation Army thrift store. And I got a book in the mail, so I have about 34 books. And I'm not going to go into all the books, I'm just going to show them, maybe mention briefly why I bought them or acquired them. So yeah, so you could call this a Friday Reads, a Cheap Stack used book haul. I've done these in the past videos. I've done Cheap Stack book hauls. I usually get a lot of books there. Some books were free, some were not. This book was free. This is Luncia in London by E.T. Benson. I have this in a big, huge, it was like a 5-volume, 5-novel series. I have in a big, huge paperback of this by E.T. Benson, but I just got this because it was free. See the little green dot means it was free. And then I bought this book, The Rise of Nationalism in the Balkans, 1800 to 1930 by Gould. It's really an old book. I got this at Salvation Army. The reason why I got this is the Balkans was a very pivotal place during this First World War. And then you have the rise of nationalism from 1800 to 1930. I'm just interested in East European history. This book I bought at Salvation Army, Villa Arabelle, World War II Escape in the House of Marcells by Rosemary Sullivan. Apparently this is a nonfiction about these, it says here, France 1940, the once glittering boulevards of Paris, teem with spies, collaborators, and Gestapo now that France has fallen to Hitler's army. Andrew Brinton, Max Ernst, Marcel Chanel, and scores of other cultural elite who have been denounced as enemies of the Third Reich. The fear of imminent arrest, deportation, and death defines daily life. Their only salvation is the Villa Belle, a chateau outside Marseilles, where a group of young people will go to extraordinary lengths to keep them alive. So that looked kind of interesting. Then this is another nonfiction, Stalin's Children, 3 Generations of Love, War, and Survival by Owen Matthews. So, I know, it looked kind of interesting. I won't go into it. Because, you know, this is a memoir before their time by Robert Kotlowitz. This is a memoir of a teenage infantryman during the Second World War. I collect memoirs. This is the novel by Endo, When I Whistle. He's a Japanese writer. He's very famous for his novel Silence. This is When I Whistle. This is translated out of Japanese by Van C. Gessel. So I got that. I collect his. I have like 3 or 4 of his novels. This is on D.H. Lawrence in Alcacel, A Quest for the Novelist in Mexico. I have a huge D.H. Lawrence collection. I didn't have this one. This was published by Gibbs M. Smith and Company in 1984, Salt Lake City. This is, I collect Rebecca West. This is Cousin Rosamond, a novel, the sequel of The Fountain Overflows and This Real Night. I don't have This Real Night, but I have The Fountain Overflows by Rebecca West. This is a, these are all library rejects. I was talking to the woman who was a volunteer there at the Cheap Stacks, and she said during the COVID-19, when the library was closed, they went through all their books and withdrew thousands. So a lot of these are just library withdrawals. See, here's another one taken out of the library circulation. This is Ann Beatty's first novel, Chilly Scenes of Winter. I didn't have this one. I collect Ann Beatty. This one, she was really young. This came out in 1976. She's one of my favorite American writers, Ann Beatty. This is Richard Ford. I collect Richard Ford. This is his short stories, Sorrow for Your Trouble. These are stories. This just came out in 2020, I think. This one came out. Yeah, 2020. I really, Richard Ford's my favorite writers, American writers. Then this is from the Cheap Stacks, another library withdrawal, short novels of Thomas Wolfe. Thomas Wolfe. There's a picture of Thomas Wolfe. This is Naked Sleeper by Sigrid Nunez. She won the Booker a couple years ago, and this is one of her earlier novels, Naked Sleeper. This is another withdrawal from the library. And then I have this already, and this is Max Perkins, editor of Genius, a biography by A. Scott Berg. I already had a paperback edition of this, but this is a hardback, and it's one of my favorite biographies of the editor Max Perkins. He edited Hemingway, Scott Fitzgerald, Thomas Wolfe. Just goes on and on. Very famous. But I really like this hardback edition. I like the cover. There's a picture of Max Perkins. So, and then this is a novel I never really heard of this writer, Simeon Van Boo, Illusion of Separateness. This was a freebie. See the little green dot on it. And then I found this at Cheap Stacks, The White Road, A Journey into Obsession by Edmund de Waal. This is his obsession with, he's a famous potterer, and this is his obsession with porcelain. He wrote this memoir about his family. I have in my library, The Hair and the Amber Eyes, A Hidden Inheritance by Edmund Waal. This is I found at a resale shop, The Purpose of the Past, Reflections on the Use of History by the very famous American historian Gordon S. Wood. This is like essays on the purpose of the past, reflections on the uses of history. I collect all the historical works by Gordon S. Wood. And And then I found this novel by Andrew Vix, Two Trains Running. I just showed you his crime novels. This is, I suppose, a crime novel. And then I found this Quintine, The Malaria and the Quest for a Cure That Changed the World by Parmenter. Got this at Salvation Army. Oh, look kind of interesting. Found this at the resale shop looking for Eulabee Dix, an illustrated biography of an American Miniaturist by Jo Ann Riley. She was an American painter, turn of the century. I just like it's just like an interesting little book. I got this at Salvation Army there in, or Goodwill there in Grand Haven. Got this at Cheap Stacks, The Richness of Life, The Essential Stephen J. Gould, edited by Stephen Rose. And I collect the writings of Stephen J. Gould. This was like the essential collection of his essays. He was it's like natural history. Kerouac at Wild Boar. These are like people who, in other skirmishes, this is people who knew him at a bar there that he would go to, Jack Kerouac. I already had this, but it was only a quarter, so I took it. This is a biography of Virginia Woolf, A Writer's Life by Linda Gordon. Linda Gordon is a very famous biographer. She's written a lot of biographies. I have a lot of her biographies. She just wrote on everybody, but I didn't have this one on her, that she wrote on Virginia Woolf. This is Paul Asher, Hand to Mouth. It's like a memoir kind of work, hand to mouth, or full title is A Chronicle of Early Failure by Paul Asher. I already had this, but it was only... Oh, I'm going out of focus. This is In the Penguin Lives on Frank Lloyd Wright by Eldel Lewis Axtable. This is from my Frank Lloyd Wright collection. This is a biography, The Mad World, Evelyn Waugh and the Secrets of Brideshead by Paula Byrne. I collect books on Evelyn Waugh. I have all his novels, short stories, biographies. This is Gotham Unbound, An Ecological History of the Greater New York by Ted Steinberg. I collect books on New York City. And then I got this novel by James Hines, Next. I have a novel of his called The Lecture's Tale. And so I didn't have this one by him, and he's an interesting writer. Next, a novel by James Hines. This is a Russian writer I never heard of. Can't even pronounce Vasily Akshabas, The Burn, translated out of the Russian. I like Russian writers. This is translated from the Russian by Michael Guinea. It was only a quarter. This is a biography on the playwright Thornton Wilder, A Life by Penelope Nevin. I collect biographies on playwrights and poets and writers and painters and politicians and critics, but look like interesting. It's only 50 cents. This is a novel by the British writer Pat Barker. I have a lot of her novels. This is Blow Your House Down. This is a novel by another American writer I collect, Mary Gordon, Men and Angels by Mary Gordon. I collect her writings. This is another novel by Andrew Vich, Haiku. You can see that everything I got at thrift stores, resale shops, cheap stacks are people I collect. The writers, subject matter, biographies, etc. This I never heard of, this novel, 7 League Boots by Albert Murray. He was an African-American writer, and I never heard of him, but it's only 50 cents. It looked kind of interesting. Then I got this book in the mail yesterday, another biography by Neil Baldwin, All Gentleness, William Carlos Williams, the Doctor Poet. So that's it. That's the books I got yesterday. I know I just rushed through them, but like I said, everything I got at cheap stacks, Goodwill, Salvation Army, resale shop are things that I collect. I just can go around, look at the book, and, well, I collect that, I collect that. That looked interesting, that was cheap, and so yeah. I collect biographies, I collect books, writers, I collect everything I got are things that I collect. So now I can put these down on the lower level, not have to look at them in the living room. So I got a book coming in the mail today. Last night, well, yesterday was just really a long day. I mean, I haven't been out that long in a long time, and I was exhausted. I went to bed really early last night. I was so wiped out because we went to Grand Haven, which is not that far, about maybe 20 minutes from Holland. And of course, I get kind of blown out when I buy a lot of books. I have to get these books in order in my brain, catalog them. When I got home, I had to catalog all these books in my library thing site, and then I had to list them in my online diary, Crooked Fingers, and then I looked at them all last night before I went to bed. I went through them all and looked at them, and so that's what I did yesterday. And this morning I'll put all these books down on the lower level, try to find a place for them in the chaos down there. I can't wait to get more bookcases. So I hope you're having a good Friday reads. I hope you have a good weekend. This morning I'm writing in my diary. I'm on page 375 this morning. Don't know if I can read anything because I'm kind of mentally tired, but we'll see. So I'll sign off here in Holland. It's been raining. Everything is blooming. There's green. I walked around our house this morning and plants are coming out of the ground and leaves are budding and flowers are blooming and the birds are singing. So it's a great rainy, warm spring day. So once again, I hope you're having a good Friday. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, and until next time, bye.